dengue virus. If you look at all viruses, like in corona, also now you're hearing there are more than 3 strains, and so they're basically information with small kind of differences, but they become stable. So in case of dengue, there are 4 strains. So we have serotype 1, 2, 3, 4, and depending on the season, one of the serotype is moving around. Typically in India, if I'm not mistaken, doctors can correct me, but it's serotype 2 that is found in Ahmedabad. But this has a very, very funny implication, or rather very tragic implication for us, this serotypal differences. That because they are 4 serotypes, once you get infected by dengue virus, your body develops that ability to recognize that virus. Okay, our immunity, as you know, now everybody knows so much about biology, so I'm not going to explain these concepts, but your immunity can recognize the virus. So next time that virus, that pathogen comes, your body is aware that this is a pathogen and it will attack. So in case of dengue, when one serotype comes and you become, then it's a very, very mild. Dengue first time is very rarely complicated. It's almost subclinical like corona. Nothing much happens. You're fine. Couple of days you feel bad about the aches, etc. But you get sorted. But if there's a change in serotype and then the next season another serotype comes, if you had the dengue infection in the previous history of life, what happens is that your body now recognizes the virus to be dengue. So macrophages rush and they have white blood cells and they engulf this virus. But the serotypal difference is that small change is such that now it is not spliced, not broken apart. The virus is not broken apart. It manages to stick inside this this carrier, which can now allow it to go through the immune system. So once it is managing to go into human immune system, what it can do is that now it is virtually without any threat. And in a lot of cases, the second infection of dengue becomes something that is very, very dangerous, because then there is a substantial viral load, because viruses are not previously recognized when they have come in, because they are hidden inside the immune system. So you get something called dengue hemorrhagic syndrome, and that has a fatality. I wouldn't like to share that number, but coronavirus would be kind of hiding in shame when it would listen to that number. So that is one more quality that I wanted you to understand, because what is happening in virus is that they crack all kind of complicated biological problem through brute force. So how does any virus manage all these complications? These complications are handled because it can infect so many life forms, and so many viruses would be interacting with so many different biological entities, so that the process of natural evolution allows it to really find solutions very quickly, because this is like you understand, even if you have a password with which has got 1 million combinations, you can have a brute force solution whereby you can ultimately work out a solution. So basically all the biological phenomena linked to viruses work better because they can use this brute force method very well. Now what is the real problem today with us is that we have created an entity which we call city, which we are very proud of, but cities are extremely dense human populations, and what they do is that they allow incredibly large amount of exchanges between viruses and human beings. So let me kind of tell you a story which should scare you, but honestly there is nothing in it, so don't worry about it. But why is the AIDS virus, HIV virus, AIDS is it's virtually fatal, so on and so forth. Why are we not getting AIDS through mosquito bites? See, AIDS is also in the blood of a person. So why, if a person with HIV gets bitten by a mosquito, why can't it be that way that you get if the mosquito bites somebody, why doesn't it get AIDS? So the reason behind it is, first is that HIV has very low viral load. So there are hardly in a mosquito bite, the amount of viruses that come inside mosquito are extremely low. Viral load is very crucial component even in corona's case, but we'll again leave that idea a bit aside. But there is one more very important thing, is that AIDS virus has not yet cracked that critical problem that dengue or plasmodium have cracked, and that is from the gut to the salivary gland. So you feel that this is never going to get cracked by AIDS virus. You're mistaken, because the minute you have huge amount of interaction, AIDS has now become a pandemic. There are just too many people with AIDS now. lots of these interactions would be taking place, and something can happen. Now that something can happen is very interesting. That something happens which is the part of story that we would come into it, and which is something very unique to viruses. So how would AIDS virus manage to crack the technology of moving from gut of a mosquito to salivary gland? One way is that it can just swap this information with a dengue virus. Not very easy, but in theory it is possible. In theory, a lot of things like this are with viruses are possible because viruses are pieces of information. So to understand this better, we have to go back to our monkey. So we said monkey is a virus, it's a piece of information. Now there is another, I can say, okay, bad is a word. So bad is something that I would say is another piece of information, another virus. If I say bad, you would have a lot of emotional association, something would crack in your brain. But I can have bad monkey. Now how does it happen? So basically piece of information can connect with each other based on certain syntaxes there could be there. If I say bad monkey, you understand it because that is again conforming to a syntax. So basically every virus is actually a word of a language, and as that biological language would have its own syntax, as long as there is a conformity to that syntax, it is possible for viruses to construct large pieces of instructions in any direction, and they could all mean anything. So by complete fluke, it is entirely possible for virus to induce evolution in a different way than the conventional understanding of life forms interacting with reality and using the survival of fittest kind of a cliched idea, where whatever works survives and whatever doesn't work dies. But in case of viruses, the biggest problem that we have is that they are able to exchange information and become more complicated by the sheer brute force numbers that they operate in, and that is why you keep having phenomena which we call